Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie B Cards, and in this video we have some drama with Topps releasing fake autographs. We have seen some fake autographs come to market. When I say fake, it sounds like these were actually forged by someone else and signed by someone not the player. So the very biggest one we're looking at is Messi. It even got to The Athletic. The Athletic is typically a very large, news publication for sports, but they are even getting in on the baseball card action. So very good article by Larry Holder if you want to check this out, but it gives us a lot of information around how these autographs on the Messi Dynasty autograph patches aren't authentic, potentially. PSA won't authenticate them, and it's been a mess. PSA has been working with Topps, and they're actually reprinting these for some people who sent these in. And I want to go over how this all played out and then talk about another example. There's another player, Frank Gore Jr., who also has cards in Topps products where he says he did not sign them. So we'll discuss that too. So very first thing, these are the cards that Topps will not sign. These go for anywhere from $5,000 to $100,000. There's collectors out there who spend a ton of money on these game-worn, hard-signed, on-card autographs just to have PSA tell them, yeah, we're not going to authenticate these anymore. They can't for whatever reason. They just say that it doesn't look legitimate to them. There's rumors from PSA, according to The Athletic, that Messi's brother signed it before PSA backed off that stance. They didn't claim it. It was just like a potential type of a thing. And it's becoming very concerning. So here's what happened. There was a collector who pulled the Messi redemption himself from Dynasty. It was a redemption back in August of 2024. He redeemed the card. He received it late January, submitted it to PSA in February, and that is when PSA failed to authenticate that particular card. After PSA told this collector to go speak to Topps, he did do that. He spoke to Topps, and Topps told him it would take them 6 months to 2 years to replace this particular card. And so they also offered a solution where they would replace it for equal value, which is always scary with Topps because either they do a really good job or a really poor job. They did a good job. Yamal, not a big soccer guy, but apparently he's a really big prospect in soccer. I wouldn't say prospect, a player, he's just young. And then Shohei Ohtani, there were rookie autographs of those two that they replaced for this Messi mess, which is kind of funny. And that is how they fixed the situation. But this is a quote that came from The Athletic that I thought was worth reading because it puts in light, are they replacing all the Dynasty autographs, or does it have to be through PSA in order to get it replaced? And one thing I'll note is Topps has not released a statement and won't say anything. This video is partially to get them to hopefully say something, not because I'm not accusing them of doing anything. I'm following exactly these articles, but it says Topps has not publicly acknowledged the issue outside of correspondence initiated by affected card owners. It appears the only way to determine if an autographed Messi card can be remade is to submit the card for grading, have PSA refuse to authenticate it, and then negotiate with PSA and Topps about the next steps. Talk about a terrible process. Terrible process. And the worst part is, it's not just one set being impacted. According to The Athletic, again, these are the 4 sets that are being impacted right now that PSA is not willing to authenticate the autograph on currently. I think they have in the past, but for currently moving forward, they just don't feel comfortable doing it anymore because they don't think it's genuine, and that's a big concern. So I do think it's important to talk about this because we do have this on the back of the card, right? This is the authenticity guarantee of Topps. The signing of all Topps autograph cards is witnessed by Topps representatives to guarantee authenticity. Obviously, that didn't happen. There's a rumor that, you can have someone else be designated by Topps to be that person, that representative. And if that's the case, it's usually the player's agent. In this case, that is Messi's father. That's the rumor, at least. So Messi's father said they were authentic, and then they were signed by Messi's brother. It's a big whole family affair. Who knows if that's true? Technically, Messi could have signed these, and PSA is wrong. I don't really believe that myself. Who knows? Either way, PSA is refusing, and Topps did an internal investigation, and they're replacing it for some collectors. So take that for what it's worth. But this guarantee is being called out and questioned for good reason. If these are being denied by PSA, even though Topps is claiming they were signed, we have a big problem. And it's not just Messi, right? This Frank Gore card was just released. So on the left, we have a Frank Gore autograph. And when he was asked, the Buffalo Bills actually posted a video on their Twitter or their X account. I will put that video in the link if you would like to watch it. I didn't want to get copyright strikes, but I have a couple quotes of what Frank Gore Jr. said in that video. He said, "Oh my gosh, dude, I did not do that. It's fake. That's for sure not my autograph." And then he went on after kind of joking around, "Whoever this is, reach out to me and I'll get you a real autograph." autograph. So on the left is the image he was shown, but on the right is a different autograph, which looks more like a professional athlete's autograph. So if we have Messi, Frank Gore Jr., all these players, how many autographs are fake? And that's a challenge that we have to deal with. And there's a chance Frank Gore Jr. did sign these terribly and was getting made fun of by his teammates, and so he just said that. But either way, he's claiming that he did not sign them, which is not a great look as well for Topps, unfortunately. There's been other situations in the hobby history, not just Topps. This is also a Panini issue where Dak Prescott had the auto pen disaster where he just used the auto pen on all of his cards and didn't think he'd get caught. So here are 4 of the gold vinyls, I believe they're called, have the exact same autographs, slightly different sizes, slightly different locations, and they thought they could get away with it, but they did not get away with it. They got called out. It was a huge deal back in 2017. So either way, autographs have always kind of been an issue. And I did a video on a different YouTube channel called Spitballing Cards that I'm on. It's like a round table with a couple other collectors. And I basically said, yeah, this is an issue, but I don't think it's a widespread issue. I would say for 90 to 95% of the cards out there, this is not a problem. And I still believe that. But I got this comment. Scottie B has that blind faith in Topps fanatics. Fake autographs, fake jerseys. Card companies have screwed buyers over forever. Nothing they do is surprising anymore. Nobody truly knows unless they work there, which is true. Nobody does know unless they work there. But I wouldn't say I have blind faith in them, but like what else are we supposed to have in these card companies, right? If we're collecting cards, there's authenticity guarantees by these companies. We have to live by them or don't buy the cards. And so that's kind of the world we're living in. And we need to hold these companies accountable when these situations happen. I think they're rare. They may be isolated, but we need to call them out or else it's going to happen more. So either way, this is me calling it out and just saying we need to have this fixed. And takeaways from this whole mess: know what players' autographs look like before you buy them, whether it's on card and certified by a company or it's an in-person autograph. Make sure you know, because that's a big step. Trust the companies, but do your best to do your own research and investigation when buying, because we see a lot of times collectors are the ones who find out these issues even before Topps. Topps has so many moving parts and so many sets that they aren't paying attention to everything the way we are, because we're the ones spending our money on those products. And again, I do not believe it is a widespread problem, but the fact it is a problem at all is a problem. Does that make sense? So even if only 1 to 2% of cards are affected, that's still 1 to 2% too many, especially with Messi when you're paying $100,000 for some of those cards. And again, I'm not making this video to make you scared or to not trust Topps or do anything, but rather to see if Topps is aware of this, how we feel as collectors, and to see if they'll make a public statement. Up to this point, they have not, because this is the last thing I want to point out from The Athletic. Topps declined interview requests related to this situation. A PSA spokesman said they would check on a possible interview, but never responded after The Athletic followed up. A representative for Messi also did not respond to a request for comment. How are we supposed to trust when this is the response we get from the manufacturers? So pretty disappointing situation, but I wanted to share it with you. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. If you trust autographs, you don't trust autographs, you think it's a widespread issue or not a widespread issue. And I'll see you in the next video.